A quiet morning. Discipline isn't built on big days, it's built on ordinary ones. The days where nothing special happens. The days with no motivation. The days that feel forgettable. Those are the days that decide everything. We have a tendency to romanticize the finish line, the breakthrough moment. The day the project is finally complete, the goal is finally achieved. We imagine the celebration, the relief, the feeling of accomplishment. These are the moments that create the highlight reel of our lives, the stories we tell ourselves and others about our journey. They are the cinematic peaks we strive for. And it's easy to show up on those days. Anyone can find the energy when the finish line is in sight. When the progress bar on the screen leaps forward with every click. When the feedback is positive and the path ahead is clear and bright. Motivation on these days feels like an infinite wellspring, a powerful current carrying you forward with effortless momentum. You feel unstoppable, brilliant, completely in flow. But those days are the exception. They are the rare, beautiful anomalies. The truth is, the vast majority of our time isn't spent at the summit. It's spent on the long, quiet, and often lonely ascent. Most days aren't like that at all. Most days are quiet. They are repetitive. They are, from the outside, completely unremarkable. They are the days you wake up when it's still dark, make the same breakfast, and sit down at the same desk to face the same problem you were stuck on yesterday. There is no external applause. There is no sudden burst of insight. Progress, if there is any, is so incremental it's almost invisible. A single sentence added. A tiny bug fixed. One more small task checked off a seemingly endless list. On these days, motivation is not a current carrying you. It's a flickering candle you have to protect from the wind with cupped hands. It's fragile and requires constant tending. And this is the proving ground. This is where the real work is done. It's in the decision to show up when no one is watching. To push through the boredom and the frustration when there's no guarantee of a reward. It's in the quiet commitment to the process, not the outcome. This is where discipline is truly forged. Not in the grand, exciting moments, but in the silent, ordinary days. What most people get wrong. There is a pervasive myth that meaningful work requires a lightning strike of inspiration, a perfect alignment of stars before we can begin. Most people, consciously or not, are waiting. They stand at the door of their own potential, hand on the handle, waiting for a feeling that gives them permission to enter. They wait for the right mood, that elusive, almost magical state where focus feels effortless and ideas flow like water. They believe that creativity and productivity are guests that must be invited under ideal emotional conditions. If the mood isn't right, the day is considered a write-off, a lost cause. The desk remains empty, the document remains blank, all because the internal weather isn't sunny. They wait for the right timing. Tomorrow, when I'm less tired. Next week, when this other project is finished. After the holidays, when things calm down. This is the quietest form of procrastination, disguised as strategic planning. It's the belief in a mythical future moment where all obligations will magically part, leaving a wide, clear path to the important work. But that perfect moment never arrives. Time doesn't expand. It is simply spent, waiting or doing, and they wait for the right circumstances. The perfectly quiet house, the brand new notebook, the faster computer, the finished cup of coffee. They mistake preparation for action, curating the perfect environment instead of engaging with the imperfect present. The external world becomes a scapegoat for internal resistance. In all these instances, They are making the same fundamental error. They treat discipline like a feeling. They believe it's a wave of motivation they must catch. But feelings are fickle. They are unreliable narrators, influenced by sleep, weather, and 1,000 other variables beyond our control. To anchor your work to your feelings is to build your house on shifting sands. But discipline is not a feeling. Discipline is a decision. It's a quiet, unglamorous choice made in a single, ordinary moment. It is the simple, repeatable act of overriding your momentary desire for comfort and ease. It's a private contract you make with your future self, a promise that you will honor your intentions regardless of your mood. It's choosing to show up. Not with enthusiasm, not with a burst of energy, but just to show up. To sit in the chair, to open the file, to place your hands on the keyboard. This is the most critical step, the one that separates the amateur from the professional. It is the act of beginning, even when the end feels impossibly far away. It's choosing to show up even when nothing feels special, because most of the time, nothing will. The bulk of progress is made in the mundane, unremarkable moments of a Tuesday afternoon. It's built in the quiet minutes before the sun rises, in the tired hour after dinner. There is no audience, no applause. There is only the work. This decision, repeated daily, is what forges character. It's what builds reliability, not just for others, but for yourself. You learn that you are someone who follows through, that your word, even when only spoken to yourself, has weight. This is the foundation upon which all meaningful results are built. It starts not with a feeling, but with a choice. Ordinary days create momentum. The ordinary day doesn't feel productive. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare or promise a breakthrough. It's the quiet morning, the blinking cursor on a blank page, the single task checked off a long list. It's the feeling of pushing a heavy stone just 1 inch forward. In these moments, we can feel adrift, questioning if our efforts even matter. We look for a sign, a grand signal that we are on the right path. But the ordinary day offers only silence. It's easy to mistake this quiet for stagnation, to believe that real progress only happens in dramatic leaps. But the power of the ordinary day is not in its individual weight, but in its accumulation. When these quiet, seemingly uneventful days are stacked together, one upon the other, they create a force of nature. They create momentum. Like the first domino in a long line, the initial effort is the hardest. It feels small, almost pointless, but it sets in motion a chain reaction. The second day is slightly easier. The third, easier still. Each day builds on the last, gathering speed and force until the process becomes nearly unstoppable. This is the engine of progress, small actions repeated daily, the single page written, the one difficult conversation had, the 30 minutes of focused practice. These are the atoms of achievement. On their own, they are invisible, but repeated with intention, they form habits. And these habits, practiced over weeks and months, begin to reshape us from the inside out. They are no longer just actions we perform, they become part of who we are. Habits form identity. You don't just write, you become a writer. You don't just exercise, you become a person who values their health. And it is this identity, forged in the quiet repetition of ordinary days, that ultimately determines our long-term outcomes. Your identity acts as a compass, guiding your choices and actions automatically. It's the internal system that ensures you stay the course, even when motivation fades. We are culturally obsessed with the highlight reel, the overnight success, the singular moment of triumph. But greatness is rarely born in the spotlight. It's forged in the quiet, consistent, and often unglamorous work done when no one is watching. You don't rise to the occasion on big moments. You rise on the foundation of your daily execution. How to show up consistently. Showing up consistently doesn't require intensity. It requires simplicity, structure. Fewer decisions. Remove negotiation. Decide once what matters, then execute without debate. That's how discipline becomes automatic. Finally, discipline is showing up on ordinary days, not when it's exciting, not when it's easy, but when it feels routine. Those are the days that build everything.